problems, our difficulties, and our conflicts are meant to change us and take us forward, instead of fragmenting us, make us hate one another, and destroy us. I hope what I'm saying will have some connection with what is going to be discussed today. This public dialogue has emerged from the protests conducted by C-TAN and NNQF. They have done the right thing, calling for and challenging the public, especially today's Nagas, to come today to ask, listen, and speak on the issues, as only by doing so, by responsible persons like you, the future will be shaped. I appreciate the invitation to participate in this dialogue. I am honored. Although probably in this dialogue, although probably all of you will understandably be certainly asking why someone going beyond the octogenarian age group should at all be at such an event as this one today. I won't blame you. The prolonged protest showed there is deep concern, frustration, bitterness, and outraged anger, but also belief in a better future in those who conducted the most demanding, costly protest, and equally in those who questioned and opposed it, as we know. I think that is a note to all of us. Both sides are serving a vital purpose for the difficult growth of our young society. We human beings are not created to breathe physically only. We should understand what all of us have felt and expressed over the problems of the protest to be our people mentally, spiritually, ethically, politically breathing. Because by this other breathing that comes from our brain, mind, our heart, our conscience and soul, deep down, they go together. Human beings and societies grow fully and properly. I'd like to request for those four things to be involved together in such a struggle, to be taken and considered. I have not grasped the many interlinked details of the problems that have accumulated so dangerously and which have brought about this public initiative by the younger generation. But I believe the central critical issue on which all sides who have been damaged in different ways, as understood by them, this side or that side, all sides who have been damaged in different ways. And there is the urgent, imperative need for our government and society to bring into unchallengeable practice and adherence what is called due process, something all of us know. But I would like to focus on that one. Due process ultimately is where both sides are trying to make their point. And that's very important. Due process is whereby justice and fairness for all are seen to be achieved in the governance and development of society. Our problems, difficulties, differences are our commonwealth, our asset. They are part of God's plan for our growth through our change, our understanding, of the crisis that is we're in the midst of, imperiling us. All fight for justice like this and progress gets to be more and more difficult. At first, simple as we all know, Naga struggle, for example, it is so exciting and it seems to be, we become euphoric. But because we are struggling in a very, very bad world that has been bad for centuries and centuries, on a big scale, we are only a tiny part of that, it gets to be more and more difficult. And you know better than I how more and more difficult it has become for all of you. But I salute you for taking it up and responding on such a scale and showing enthusiasm.
The protest by our enemy here, the CA, I've been watching, I've been reading the comments on the various channels that was broadcast, and you see quite a number of comments saying, what about the forest department, what about this department, that department. You have to understand that this is happening in every aspect of Naga society. Whether you're in a village, whether you're in a town, whether you're educated, whether you're uneducated, whether you're skilled labor, whether you're unskilled labor, we are facing injustice in every aspect of our lives. And it is not for us. We have to understand that when somebody is facing injustice, we should not sit back and say, it doesn't concern me. Or, what about my case? It is high time we realize that if anybody protests, we should all stand together. Because we are all suffering the same injustice in different fields. So, I am here today, again, last time I came, I will always be there to support in any way anybody who's facing injustice in any field. And this is something we Nagas must realize. We make all these false analogies in Mizoram. But Mizoram, we are a nearly homogeneous society. In Nagaland, we have so many tribes, so many clans, so many villages, and we are always being divided on tribal lines, on lines of clan, area, village. We must understand that what is right, what is wrong. There are no shades of grey. You have to understand that. And I am very grateful that this is the first time our educated young people have stood for an issue, and I hope that you can bring this, they have managed to bring about the revocation of the appointment. And let us fight together to make sure that government requisitions dispose to the enemies.
My talk is not exactly listed there, but I want to just give you something on the National Education Policy 2020 and show you where our government is missing, what the government wants to do. We have 17 colleges, government colleges in Nagaland, with about 600 faculties. We've had numerous problems, mostly quality, but some government colleges delivered, they did well, but that system is outdated. In fact, the system got terribly outdated. So this NEP 2020 came in where the curriculum framework was redesigned to include skill education, internships, and research. These are the important components of the NEP 2020. Now we had a 3-year degree course spread over, 6-semester degree course spread over 3 years. Today we have the 7th and 8th semester. This means the degree program. This is optional. The 4th semester. The 4th year. The 7th and 8th semesters. Now the advantage for students of the passing of the 8th semester is that they get to go for do a 1-year master's degree program. those who have done exceptionally well will score 75 or 80%, I don't remember, some of you will remember. From the 8th semester, they can start a PhD. They can start looking for a PhD. So the system has been feedback, has become very friendly, it has become very forward-looking. So when this is happening, when somebody can go straight for a PhD after the 8th semester, it means that the 7th and 8th semesters have a big component of research. So today, we need faculties who have PhDs as well, which become very important. So all of your aspects, some of you are working for a PhD, some of you have your PhDs, those of you are still thinking better work for it faster. Because even if you get recruited through the MPSC without PhDs, you will require a PhD for future promotions. Now the national gross enrollment ratio of 2020 was 27.3%. Nagaland, it was just 18.7%. That's 8.6% below the national GER. Now the National Education Policy's target is 50% by 2035, 10 years from now. But Nagaland are being prepared as it is right now in the dumps. Annually, about 10,000 students join the government colleges, are admitted to the government colleges, which is just 30%. That means 70% are going to private colleges. There's something wrong with the government colleges. We don't have enough teachers, we don't have enough infrastructure. The NEP coverage is very vast. So there are a lot of implementation challenges. It's understood, but there was time. So all the states were expected to expand the infrastructure, increase the manpower. That's basically teaching positions. But it seems Nagaland, we have still been sleeping. Because besides this 147 posts that were created for those for a particular category of people, there's no post creation. That means we are very ill prepared, but we have already accepted NEP 2020. So the government has to take responsibility. Now I've seen another problem which is not related to this, but there is one point where it is related, of course, for certain backward communities. I'm not against any backward community, but it pinches in one place. Now there's a government order that says that these posts don't elapse. So that means we have seen some posts that cannot be filled up because there are no qualified candidates for the last 3, 4, 5 years. Government colleges are short of teachers. Every single post for those departments of the colleges matter a lot. The government has to wake up. Something has to be resolved. We cannot keep these indefinitely. But one good thing with this NEP 2020 is that it encourages institutional autonomy. We have 3 autonomous colleges in Nagaland. The Former Science College is the only government college, and 2 private colleges. The government should have been doing much better. But this autonomy, the government of India is willing to give to deserving colleges, but there are some requirements. More teachers, more qualified teachers, and a basic infrastructure. We have to improve. Now this is a very competitive international arena that we are in today. The key to growth is knowledge generation. At the heart of knowledge generation is research. Without research, no knowledge is generated. We cannot compete with anybody outside our territory. The world's top institutions like Harvard University, MIT, Caltech, Cambridge, Oxford, Yale, Princeton, etc. are basically research universities. They have devoted their time, major chunk of their time for research. So that's what they're writing for. One fine day about a decade back, the government of India woke up to find the first list of the world's top universities. that India did not figure in the top 200. So that was a shock with our IITs, the IIMs, and the Indian Institute of Science Bangalore. It was a big shock. That time, the thrust in India was 60% classroom academics and 40% for research, because research is an important component. But that goes up. So then the government of India insists that 60% of our effort should be on research. Only 40% for academics. That's almost 10 years back, and we still have not climbed into the top 200 universities of the world. So the need for today in Nagaland in particular is to upgrade our higher education by blending academics and research, very intensive research. We have to ensure change. So for this we need sufficient, high quality teachers. High quality, high qualified teachers. Otherwise, our students, our own Naga students, are doomed to mediocrity. And it's something we are seeing today. Now, we have some expectations from the government. That is, if the 147 posts are given, I'm still skeptical. Even if the 147 posts come, I still think we may be short of posts, short of teachers. The 17 government colleges. We expect all the major colleges, that's Dimapur Government College, Vasani College, Zinaboto Government College, and Burma Science College, Burma College, and all to be upgraded. We expect them to start the additional year, the 7th and 8th semesters. Probably Burma Science College is shown. But for that, we need extra teachers, we need extra infrastructure. Now there's a problem. Contracts, as Mr. There was so much of manipulation, extensive manipulation, so the government itself abolished contract appointments. But for higher education, we have to see it rationally. When there are shortage of posts, creation of posts take time. Sending a requisition to the NPSC takes time. But in the meantime, departments of various colleges should not suffer. So we can think of appointing guest faculties for 6 months or for a semester, which can be renewed. But following all the quality procedures as advertising openly and inviting, then interviewing them, picking the best. That's what has been happening in the Nagaland University for many years. And then we also expect the government to build up the necessary infrastructure. And I don't believe that Nagaland is a failed state. And I hope that Nagaland will never be a failed state. So if that's the case, then I think Nagaland should have at least one multidisciplinary state university. Nagaland government should not shy away. We need it if we are to grow intellectually. They say about 30 or 40 crore rupees is going out of Nagaland annually because many of our students go out for studies. We don't have space for them here. And also we have, as an afterthought, I also put this, we have expectations from the NPSC also. Transparency. I feel there should be transparency and we should ensure there is transparency. Of course, it's definitely the case maybe the NPSC recruits following taking the minimum qualifications. The UGC has prescribed NET as the minimum qualification. PhD is not mandatory. But if there are cases where there are PhD candidates with PhDs, preference of weightage should be given. Because ultimately we need to develop our university, our colleges into research institutions. So with this short address, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
The reason why we support CTN and NNQF is that when we talk to machine law, Kahuto, we found that they were not fighting anything for themselves, not for their personal gain. But one very inspiring message we got from them was that what has happened to us, this should not happen to the posterity, to the future generation. That is why today my organizations, we have come forward to support them. We are their staunch supporter. As a matter of fact, today, my ideas may be irrelevant to you because I did my research and a little bit of homework on different colleges, Nagaland, different government colleges, and I wanted to interact with the government officials, which are empty. Those chairs were for the government officials, and then my idea was to interact with them and to learn from them. This is not a government bashing program, as a matter of fact, but to have a healthy discussion, to have a happy discussion. Because, okay, revocation is done, requisition is not done. But even if the requisition is done, the dialogue, the conversation should go beyond that. Unfortunately, today our officials did not come, and I feel sorry for them. Why am I here today? And one question that people ask me, and also they say that, why are you supporting them? One very simple answer I gave to one government official was that I don't want to see our children, I don't want to see my brothers and sisters on the street again. I want them to study, because during the protest, what we saw, some of you came out shouting slogans. At the end, when you get little bit of time, you just go inside, sit on the floor, and open your books, and you start your work again. So those things we really don't want to. But to the government officials, to the government, I just want to tell them that I don't want to see you on the street, but if they behave like this, when questions were asked, they say that, we will not stand for media trial. When they are invited for invitation, they never appear, they never come to us. And to the different organizations, what I want to say is that, because somebody just day before yesterday asked me, what is 147? Then I said, my answer was that 147 is the small tablet, small medicine to heal Nagaland. So if we fail this time, then I don't see any future for Nagaland. I think this battle is very, very important. That is why you have our full support. And even in future, in whatever way we can, we are ready to help you. We are always here to, give you our support. And the need is very much felt now in our society to check our system. System is horribly wrong. One driver molested a girl, arrested, suspended. Randy Wilfred, he was booked under POCSO Act. Booked, no? The verdict should have been out within 6 to 1 year, 6 months to 1 year. Awarded a better post in the finance department. I didn't. FIR was registered. FIR was registered. Huh? But because approached media and he gave an interview at his office chamber again. Is this the system? Are we going to follow this kind of system? Is there a system for rich and poor? So that is why we really need to discuss with the government officials and the other thing. Regarding 147, I think today that is the main topic that we are going to discuss, we are going to focus on it. And then I will give time to my other colleagues also so that we will have more time for discussion. Thank you.
See, the order has already been revoked. But the problem is, why is the requisition not being sent? Now, to clarify earlier, we invited the minister, we invited the officials also. We gave the letter to them. So after some days, we went to their office, requested them to come and sit with us. Now, because see, until I given the interview number, what is black is black, what is white is white. So public law also required me, why is the requisition so difficult to be sent? We wanted them to highlight that to the public. They didn't turn out people. See, now, just recently, the NNQ, they have 5 RTI, we have 2 RTI on the same day. So, this is what the department is doing. When the RTI is asking question about the total sanction posts of assistant professors and librarians, in one of the RTI, the reply is 609. I'm saying, okay, RTI was filed on the same day, vitamin. So it was 609 as it were. Alright, it was 500 something as it were. Besides, sanction post was it were. Now, it was after 2022, they asked for at a particular year in a post-creation order than give a post-creation, which is number post-creation to 2024 last year, 17 December, at the post-creation. At the post-creation, besides so parole. Maybe I'm going to get Johnny doing so maybe in a later part we'll discuss more. Thank you.
Just as revocation without requisition is incomplete, even if requisition takes place, there are certain concerns regarding the CSE which makes the exam certain concerns that makes it questionable with regard to transparency and fair recruitment. And so based on that argument, I want to point out 3 things here. The first thing is with regard to the mark verification. When it comes to the CSE, the Government Educational Services exam, they have allotted out of the 100 marks, they have 100%. They have allotted 40% to the academic report of the expert, and 45% to the written examination, 50% for the interview. Now here the concern is particularly with the 40% that they have allotted to the academic report. Now we will see that there is variation among the aspirants. Some aspirants will fall under the annual system, some under the semester system. Now there's a stark difference in terms of their scoring because of that difference in system. Then there are also variations across universities. Some universities are very strict with their markings, whereas some universities are lenient with their markings. So based on this 40%, some sections of aspirants are already at a disadvantage, even before they write the exam. Then only 45% according to the written exam, then we have 15%. Now there are, of course, we understand that there has to be a section that is allotted for interview. However, we also find that there are disparities against there. When we look at different aspirants, some of them will have better articulation skills, a wider range of vocabulary, mannerisms, and presentations. That will differ. Now, we're not saying that that is wrong, but there's already an existing disparity in society. And therefore, in order to narrow down those disparities, I think the interview percentage also has to come down to at least 10% as other examinations. So these are some of the concerns that we have addressed and appeal to the concerned authorities also. And we come to this recommendation that if we are looking for fair recruitment, the authorities should bring down the academic report from 40% to 20%, and as mentioned earlier by Professor Thong, they should give more emphasis on research publication, research experiences, even teaching experience. Then the interview should be limited to 10%, as in other exams, and the written examination should be increased to 70%. That's our suggestion. These are some of the demands that we have put in our petition. As you go out, you will sign if you agree on this point. Now, the second point that I want to emphasize is with regard to transparency, which is already been mentioned. Now, when the CSE results are out, you only get to know your marks. You can file an RTI, but you only get to know your marks. You don't know the marks of the person who has cracked the exam. You don't know the marks of the person who is the waiting list. Now, we're not questioning their competency, but if we are going to push for transparency and fair process of recruitment, then the disclosure of marks of the candidates should be a priority authorities. There's another thing we want to push for. The third concern regarding the CSE exam is regarding the aligned subject eligibility. Now, UGC Gazette 2018 clause 4 to apply for a specific subject. So say, for example, there's a vacant position for sociology. Candidates who have master's degree in social work, social development, social anthropology, and apply for that post. Or if there's a post for political science, people with either master's degree can also apply for that post. However, when inquired, the higher education stated that they do not allow that. It's only for a specific subject. Okay, so that is fine. But the concern arose when they allowed some people from the allied category to give the exam. So it happens that in certain instances, there are two people who studied in the same university, the same subject, one was allowed, one was rejected. So our demand is also that we apply uniformity. If we are not going to impose this clause from the UGC that allows allied subjects for uniformity, or if we want to push for a more inclusive form of recruitment, then let there be wider participation by allowing categories from the allied subjects to participate in the examination. So I'm highlighting this concern with regard to CSE because since today we're talking about transparency, fair recruitment, and to make sure that there is right equal opportunity for all the citizens of Nagaland and for all the taxpayers, keeping in mind that there is already a disparity in the society, to make sure that this disparity does not get reproduced in the education system or in the recruitment system, we share this discussion.